Welcome, everyone. I would say this is day two of dealing with burnout and the fallout, the fallout of burnout. Just a little music to keep me up at the moment. But tomorrow, I head back to work, and I have a meeting first thing in the morning at about 9:30 with the manager, with the boss, and that's when we discuss what's going on and what's moving forward. So, what do I do today? Got a new lens for my camera, so it looks a little better. I think there's a little bit of nice bokeh in the background there, just a little bit. And I think I'm a little clearer up the front. It's a nice Sigma 16mm lens now on my Sony ZV E10. So it's starting to come together a little bit. Yeah. Pleased with what I've seen so far. Obviously, haven't put it too much use yet. Yeah, it's a nice little investment. I have a bit of an ulcer on my tongue at the back over here. Makes talking a bit hard, so I don't know if it'll be a long post today, but nonetheless. So I had to drive all out to Auckland, which is about an hour and a half away. There, hour and a half back, to pick up the lens, and that was actually quite nice. It's nice just to get out of the house and go for a drive, actually. Didn't listen to any music or anything, funny enough. Just very quiet. Some quiet me time in the car. No dog. No dog and no and I have to focus on driving, so it was actually quite a nice mental space to be in. So what's happening? So as far as my mind goes, and anyone who's going through or has been experienced burnout will know that there is a massive fog. There's a lot of fog in the mind. There's a lot of what the hell am I going to do next? What's the fallout from this? What's the repercussions of the decision I'm about to make? And I mean, I've got 4 kids. I share, as I have mentioned previously, I share custody of them week on, week off. It's currently school holidays, so from Monday sort of afternoon to Friday afternoon, they're with the mum, and then from Friday afternoon to Monday afternoon, they're with me. So over the weekends. But once school starts in about a week and a bit, it's week on, week off, Monday to Monday. So I have a 4-bedroom house that I'm renting, and I have 4 mouths to feed, including myself and a dog. So I'm kind of in a quandary. I need to leave work. I need to leave my career, for my own mental health. This is the second time I've burnt out now, and I need to do something different. I need to go back to what I really love, which is flying. I used to fly as a pilot when I was young. I never got to be a commercial pilot, but maybe that's something I can achieve. I adore aviation, the aviation industry. It's my passion to be around planes and fly and those people and the environment. I love flying, but it is not a cheap passion. But it is a passion nonetheless. I love it. I absolutely adore it. So I'm figuring out how I can get back into that while I'm still physically capable of it. What my long-term goals for that would be I mean, my dream would be to fly for an airline. But we all know what the world is doing right now with COVID and international travel. So just like what happened 20 odd years ago with my career with September 11, the same thing has happened again. The whole industry is just shut because of another major event. But now might be the good time to actually restart. So by the time I get through to that point where I've built my hours up and at the point where I can actually move into an airline, everything's we're past this. So it might actually be a good time. Fingers crossed. The second, the biggest, really, the main issue is affordability. So if I was to look up, I believe in an email I received an email. Where's my email? I received an email from the local flying school, and I don't need to do that, do I? It's Waikato Aviation. Spell. So I was given a some fees. Obviously, renewing my PPL. Minimum I need to do a BFR, and the current aircraft rates are there. I also need to retake the PPL Air Law exam, which costs $95. We do run a community PPL law class twice a year, $207 if you're interested in taking a class on the subject. And you would need to pay a membership fee to be able to do your BFR and train with us. It costs $130 lasts a year. And then, of course, the fees are for the Cessna 172, which I am rated for, $350 an hour. And let's say I require, let's say I require 20 hours of training. That's $7,000, isn't it? So 20 times 350, $7,000, which isn't bad. I can afford that. I've got money. 20 hours of training plus all the blah, 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 and I'd get my PPL back. And then, of course, that's just to get my PPL. And then to get into commercial, I have to do all the exams, which are quite major. Not impossible, but definitely a major consideration. And then there's time. Not only that, but I also have to pay rent, which is $650 a week for this 4-bedroom house. And I've actually just gone and looked up rent for 4-bedroom houses across New Zealand. I wanted to think maybe I should just move to a cheaper town. It'd be far away from the kids, but I could handle it if I was a set period of time. Or they could come and visit on at times, or whatever. It's not really an option, but I looked at it anyway. Across, except for Southland and west coast of the South Island, a 4-bedroom house just about anywhere in New Zealand will cost $650 a week, regardless of the size of the town, it seems. Obviously, Auckland, it's even, and probably Wellington, it's even more. But Christchurch, Dunedin, Wanaka, where else did I look? Oh, obviously Hamilton, $650. So that's just a standard now, whereas that was not the case in the past. The landed gentry are cashing in. That's if I and if I'm to have a 4-bedroom house, I've got a lot of stuff. Like since I moved out, I have filled an entire 4-bedroom house. I've got 4 bedrooms full of furniture, 3 kids, myself, 2 bathrooms, a full lounge, kitchen, garage, this studio setup. The only thing I don't have is outdoor furniture because there's such a small concrete patio in this rental that it's not worth it. There's actually a basketball hoop on it, so that we can get outside and have a bit of exercise, for the kids and throw some hoops. And I'm not going to put nice furniture on the muddy ground. Well, it's not muddy right now. It's summer. It's hard and dry, but in winter it'll get muddy. And then where am I going to move it? It's going to be outside, soon. I haven't bothered. So yeah, I've either got a choice. I've got a choice to make. I've got either go to stay where I'm at or move closer to the airport because I'm at the opposite end of town, which is always the case for some reason. Why is it that the nice suburbs are always about the furthest away from airports as you can get? It must be the noise. Because when I was training, when I was a young lad, I was in Auckland and I was in central Auckland, and my airfield that I was training out of was Ardmore, which was a good 40-minute drive south. And I seem to be in the same situation right now. I'm not central, but where I'm at, the dog's about to bark. She's seen another dog outside. This is the problem with having a dog. I'm in the garage. I've set up a studio in the garage, and it gets very, very hot in here. So I open the door a bit to let some fresh air in. But the dog uses it to watch the road and everyone go past, and so barks at everybody going past. So a bit of a dead patch there. My apologies. What do you do with a dog? You lock them out and they just whine at the door. You let them in and they whine at your feet. Anyway, so yeah, I've got expensive housing. I have to pay $450 a week child support. So that's $1,000 right there. $1,100. Just that. Food, another 500, give or take. When I've got the kids, obviously about $300 to $500. When I don't have the kids, it's obviously way, way less because it's just me. So $1,600 on average. Let's say $1,300 average, $1,400 a week average. With no income. How fast do you think I'm going to run through my savings? So what would be left for flight training? So I'm in a bit of a quandary. The other passion I have is this, be an online content creator. And of course, I'm investing quite heavily in that. I have a substantial studio set up and a pretty good camera. I have a new computer, screens, lighting, as you can see. And I would really like to become a much better content creator. I'm completely new to video editing and videography, but I would love to do it. It looks fascinating and it looks like a wonderful kind of career to be a content creator, which I would absolutely love to do, become part of. And I think it's, I'd really like to be my own boss in that space and create a business for myself in that space. Podcast is another one. So, there's opportunity there. Time is probably the one thing that is always going to just simply run out and you can't buy anymore. And so what I've learned from this burnout is I have to do what I really enjoy. But when you're a parent, you can't just throw the baby out with the bathwater. You cannot just get up and go. There's massive. I mean, the reason I did health and safety in the first place was because I had to give up my. So I've had an interesting life, a very good life. I love my life. I love life in general. I think, it's just simply an opportunity to experience more than anything you can. So when I left school, I trained as a pilot. I did that for a few years. And then when September 11 hit, I met my future wife and we had our first baby. And then I went over to Malaysia and lived there for 11 years because that's where my wife is from. And we decided to, there wasn't, since I'd basically given up flying here, there wasn't much happening for me here. So, hey, let's go and do something over in Malaysia. We ended up running an English school, English language school, teaching English. Did that for 8 years. I can't believe it was 8 years. 2003 to 2011, there was a bit of a crossover. In 2010, I started my health and safety career. And so for about a year there, I was doing both because teaching English was mostly at nights after, kids were after school, parents after work, take the kids. And I'd do a lot of classes over that and also on weekends. And then, of course, I'd be working in my health and safety career on the weekdays. So there was a big overlap. It was a busy time, but it was good. So I did that for about 8 years. I really loved teaching to a point, but I did not enjoy things like class prep, coming up with stuff all the time. God, I did not enjoy that part of it at all. But I loved teaching. There's always parts to every job that you don't like. So, but I managed to do it for 8 years. And then after that, when the health and safety took over, and that brought me back to New Zealand in 2014, and I've done it since 2011, 2010. So coming up on 12 years. And this career has come to an end for me because although I've reached health and safety manager for a multinational company and I'm, in a very senior role, I can't do it anymore. I can't face the daily grind, the daily stuff. And I've spent 2.5 years implementing a new system into this company, and it's not done yet because the system's so big. And when you have to restart an entire new system, there are so many moving parts. Doing it yourself, do not recommend. Have a team. So tomorrow, meeting with the manager at 9:30 in the morning, and we're having a meeting at a local cafe, and I'm having all the thoughts. They're going to pay me out, leave straight away. They're going to offer me my 1 month notice in which I worked that out, or something else. They may ask me to consult on a regular basis while they bring on a new person. I may consider that. That might actually be a consideration for me as a transition anyway. They could. Yeah, there's any number of options that could happen. Well, not really any number, but there's a couple of options. The one thing that won't be on the table is them putting on me on some kind of performance improvement plan. I have been down that path before, and it just led to my burnout even faster. So that's not an option. That won't be happening. As soon as it's raised, I'll be like, no, you won't get a better performance out of me now. I'm burnt out. I'm unable to cope with the workload now. And I have tried to reduce it down to a manageable level already, but it can't get any lower. In fact, it's too low already. So, yeah, I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. I think they're just going to find out how I am. Am I prepared? Am I ready to come back to work? Yeah, I have no idea. And beyond that, I mean, I can't wait to be not doing health and safety anymore and to put it out of my head, park it, put it away, never look at it again. Bittersweet, a little bit. I've invested so much into it and I have done my damnedest. I know I have done everything I can to get as much joy out of that work as I possibly can. But when your heart is not in something, you can only fake it for so long. There is no fake it till you make it when your heart's not in something. So, yeah, it looks like I will be walking the unknown path again. But this time, it's really scary because the last times that this has happened, I've had my partner with me. I've had support. And this time, no partner. I'm single. And there are benefits to it happening at the moment. I mean, my kids are older now. They don't, need me as much. Although I need them. But yeah, they don't. They're getting a bit older. Youngest is almost 12. So, so anyone out there who's struggling with mental health issues, especially burnout, I really know. I feel you. I know the feeling. There's so much going on in your head. There's so many. Oh my God, I can't. There's too many things going on. I can't drop the ball. There's so much pressure on yourself. I can't let everybody down. I can't afford to change. I can't afford to move forward. And companies they know this as well. And so they, put in things like restraintive trade. In New Zealand, we call them restraintive trade. So you can't, in your contract, they may say a 3-month or a 6-month restraintive trade. So you can't, if you're like, let's say a real estate agent, you can't just leave that business and go and work for another business straight away. Why not? Because they think it's anti-competitive, and it bloody well is for the person and for the business and the industry in total, because it keeps wages low. Because they know you can't leave, and so they don't have to increase your pay to keep you. Because especially if you're good, and there's no poaching and things like that in the industry, which there should be. Absolutely, there should be poaching. If someone's good at their job, they should be poached. If one company's not looking after their staff, upskilling them, looking after them and treating them well, they ought to be poached by a company that is going to do that for them. That's the free market at work. So poaching and things like anti-poaching and restraintive trade clauses in contracts are hugely anti-competitive and should be thrown out. In fact, most times they won't be held up in court. Lawyers have actually deliberated on this in New Zealand, and they actually can't be They can't be upheld in court. But the problem is that the person who's having that imposed on them tends to not be able to afford the lawyers. They might be on $20, $22 an hour minimum wage. They can't afford to get lawyers for, $500 an hour, $300 an hour even. They can't afford that. So they can't fight it. So the company knows this. So they impose this on people, especially lower workers. Senior managers, not so much. But because it's different. They're treated differently. There's no restraint of trade on me, I believe, in my contract. But then it wouldn't make any difference anyway, because I'm not going to go off and do the same job again. So it doesn't come into play. So if there's someone out there who's going through, I would really like to see your comments. Leave a message. Maybe next time I'm live streaming, you can join in. There's a lot of help out there, and places to get advice and stuff like that. So yeah, I mean, there's plenty of but you've obviously got to want to get the help. And obviously in New Zealand right now, there's a big lag between asking for help and getting it. There's just not enough. We just don't have the therapists, the counselors, and the professional people there, the numbers to help. And I think that's the same all over the world, especially with COVID and what it's done, the stress levels and people's livelihoods being destroyed and families being split, people unable to go to funerals and weddings and births and all of it. The human, those key parts of the human condition. So the pandemic has created generational trauma. But we'll all get through it. We'll find our way. We are lucky in this day and age that we have the internet. We have this. We can do something. We can talk to people. We can reach out. We can just talk. I have no subscribers and no viewers. But who knows, one day someone might watch this and just listen to me talk about my experiences, and maybe they can relate and gain some insight. All I could say is just chin up. The fog will clear, and I know it will for me too. I will find the path. I will find a way forward. Although I cannot picture it right now, and I don't know what the heck's going to happen next, I just have faith that it will happen. And I have faith in you too. You can do it. And so with that short half-hour stream, I'm going to just put a little bit of outro music on and sign off. You got this.